One of the most important lessons that I've learned on my 5+ year spiritual journey now is that no matter how much you think you know something, God will always show you that there's always a deeper meaning and a deeper rooted understanding that you can attain. But oftentimes, as Carl Jung said, there's no coming to consciousness without pain. And so, whether that pain is psychological or physical, we're going to be growing in a certain kind of way. Now, in this video today, I want to talk about specifically how heartbreak and why heartbreak can actually purify your soul. Now, many types of people go through many different types of heartache, and it's been clear to me that people that are on the spiritual journey experience the most profound heartache. And it's almost as if you can't really be awakened to the spiritual realm until you have a kind of heartbreak. Because to be on the spiritual journey means that you have exhibited forms of compassion and empathy to others in such a way that you're able to provide a certain kind of wisdom or understanding to those people just by being who you are. You know, you just are someone that is able to look at the situation and then provide not only a reasonable and insightful form of communication, but also perhaps even something that is lighthearted or something that is considered to be not always. It's just an individual thing. You are your own person at the end of the day. And so oftentimes we develop the most amount of possibilities for misunderstandings as awakened individuals because we're just so different. And because there's going to be so many different kinds of understandings, we're bound to have heartbreak in certain kind of areas, specifically in whatever is most relevant to you. Again, this is an individual thing. But one of the signs of enduring heartbreak is enduring and realizing the sense of betrayal. Well, what exactly is betrayal? It's trusting someone with something or with your information about your life, and then them showing that they are willingly able to revoke that trust for the sense of seeing you damaged in some way, whether that's psychological or physical. Again, it's entirely up to the other person. But what does betrayal really reveal? What does betrayal mean when you, and how does that heartbreak really feel? You know, I've had times in my life where I just threw my hands up and I was on my knees and I was asking God why. I was just asking God, what did I do? Like, what have I done? Like, sure, I'm not perfect, but damn it, like I'm not the worst human being ever. And I'm feeling more pain than almost anybody I've ever known. Like, how is it possible that I can feel this kind of psychological pain from doing so good? Like, and it's not even like I'm the best at this. It's not like that. It's that I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be logical, and I'm trying to be moral, and I'm trying to have a sense of virtue and understanding when it comes to growing as a person. Why am I feeling this kind of pain? Well, it's because God knows that you can take it. There's at the very end of The Dark Knight Rises, or just The Dark Knight it is, which is Batman, he actually has a moment where he has to act as the villain now. And he's the symbol, right? He's like a symbol of the city. And some people may think that Batman actually doesn't want to serve justice to the villains. He actually wants to just punish them. And that's a very interesting idea, but it also is akin to his own heartbreak. But he now becomes someone that can take the hunt. He can take the view of many people to see him as the villain when he's really not. And that is a heroic thing to do, right? To do the right thing, but to know that some people may not see you as that kind of heroic figure. And so what you're channeling and what he's channeling in there in that example is the hero archetype. And Jesus is like the embodiment of all of the main four archetypes in a man. You know, the hero or the king slash magician slash lover slash warrior all together. And Jesus wasn't necessarily a fighter in the physical, but he was a fighter in the spiritual and the emotional and all of the psychological ways that you can possibly think of. I mean, even just thinking about the 40 days and 40 nights example where he was going out and he was tested by Satan. Well, what did he really do in this situation? What was Jesus really trying to accomplish? Well, he was accomplishing the moral compass of humankind. That's what he was doing. He was giving a solid foundation in which people can now follow, no matter what. It wasn't necessarily that he experienced a profound heartbreak. You know, I mean, literally being nailed to the cross. All for what? All for what? Well, it's to be the moral compass of humankind. To say that even the best of us can be viewed as the villain. And then all will be revealed in the end, right? The time will tell all, and the truth will be revealed. And so in the scriptures, it states that like the rock shook the temple, right? So after Jesus died, there was physical evidence of God being angry, so to speak. And all of the Pharisees were like, oh my gosh, we did kill the Son of God. Well, yes. And then they experienced that heartbreak. So heartbreak comes in many different kinds of forms, and it reveals certain kinds of things in certain kinds of ways. You know, this isn't this video isn't directly speaking about only relationship heartbreak. It can be heartbreak about God. In a way, when I was on my knees and my hands up in the air asking God why, all those years ago, in a way I felt heartbroken for God. It was as if I felt as though I knew that there was a deeper meaning behind what I was feeling in the heartbreak, but I couldn't quite put it into words because the pain was just so unbearable. It was just so much psychological pain. And there are studies, scientific studies, that have shown that psychological pain can be just as damaging as physical pain. And they've shown people that have exhibited like forms of narcissistic abuse, and the way that their brains operate is very damaged and akin to people like with concussions or anything like that. So that's very interesting. That's just an interesting side note there. But one of the ways that you can heal the heart is through simplicity, because simplicity heals where the heart wanders or where the mind wanders. And so when you are able to have a form of simplicity about your life, you're able to get your life in more order, it's more organized, and you're going to be able to revel in the positives of life, the joy, the aspirations, the laughter, the simpleness of just appreciating what it is that you have in this moment. Every night I pray for simple things, and this started when I really started to follow Christ, was just being thankful for things like cups and things like pens or just food in general, or just a shower or a toilet even. You know, that would suck to have to go into the wilderness in the bitter cold where it is where I'm at. Super cold. It's not very snowy at the moment, but my goodness, is it kind of cold. And so just being thankful for even heaters, or just having gratitude for anything that you have with you, is going to be a way that you can heal what the heart hasn't healed. And I've said this before in other videos a long time ago, but the mind will repeat what the heart does not heal, right? So you're going to exhibit certain kinds of forms and patterns of behavior of which you have not healed. And this is another thing about heartbreak, is God's going to reveal to you what you are still trying to heal. And God's also going to reveal to you where I would say, it's kind of like your Achilles heel is spiritually. And so you'll know your Achilles heel because it'll be the thing that you absolutely do not want to look at the most. And sometimes, like, you may not even want to look at it so much so that you might trick yourself into believing that something else isn't really what it is that you don't want to see, when in reality it's actually this bigger dragon in the middle of the room that is very obvious and it's very apparent, but you've just told yourself a certain story in your mind and you've believed that story to the point to where you don't take a step back and you look at the story itself and you say, this story is just a thought. Because look, me talking into this microphone right now, I am talking into a microphone. I am doing this thing, yes, but I'm also, I'm just thinking that to some degree. It's just a thought. So I'm expressing it, but at the same time, like Alan Watts says, that you are under no obligation to be the same person that you were 5 minutes ago. And a lot of the times, I think Alan Watts has a lot of good things to say, and some people may think that he's too Eastern for a philosopher, but I think he has a lot of wisdom. And again, I'm not someone that is strictly biblical when it comes to like truth seeking. I think we can get truth from almost anywhere, but I do genuinely believe that the Bible is the most foundational form of truth. And Jordan Peterson has mentioned that it's truer than true. And what exactly does he mean by that? It means that when you read it, you are experiencing something, but you are also reading something, but you are also living something, because it's a living document. So it's going to affect you in certain kinds of ways that other books or other things or other people even may not have a certain kind of effect on you. And the reason that it's so foundational is because it was never done before. Nobody ever had a book. Like the example that Jordan Peterson gave when he said this was on a Joe Rogan podcast. And he said something along the lines of, he was talking to the the museum person. I don't know what their title was, but he was talking to the museum person, and the museum said, "Yeah, you know the internet?" And Jordan Peterson said, "Well, yeah." And he looked at the Bible. The museum person looked at the Bible and said, "This is way more foundational. Like, this is way more than the internet." Well, how could that be? It's because the stories in there invoke a certain kind of pain and freedom. And that's why Carl Jung said that there is no coming to consciousness without pain. When you run from the pain, when you continue to run from the emptiness inside of you, you'll never be able to fill your cup because you're not allowing yourself to fill your cup in the first place. And so there's always going to be a place in your mind, body, and soul when they're in alignment, that when you are there, the pain and the wisdom are almost one and the same thing. And that is one of reasons why also in the Bible it says something along the lines of those that know sorrow also know wisdom, or those that experience sorrow will also experience wisdom, something along those lines. I can't remember the exact verse right now. Somebody else may be able to help me out in the comments there. But anyway, I wanted to just share this video and to share these thoughts and insights. Hopefully that someone found it insightful and useful. And peace be with you. Till next time.